What is simple interest?
So simple interest is a type of interest. Interest itself is it's the privilege to borrow money. So let's say I lend $100 to Eric. Because of the lost opportunity cost of that money, I should get something back in proportion to the money that I lent to Eric for a certain time frame. So simple interest is a very simple and quick way of calculating that interest due, and it's usually it's the principal multiplied by the interest rate multiplied by the time frame.
So I think that the key thing that we need to note about simple interest is that it is calculated solely on the principal. Right. No matter how much the amount of money grows in the future, the interest is calculated solely on how much was borrowed in the very beginning.
Right.
Okay. So Ben, why don't you show us an example of a calculation involving simple interest?
Okay. So I'll just write down the formula so we have it here. So it would be A, which is the total accrued amount of principal plus the interest dollars earned. So A equals to P times 1 plus RT. And so A is the total accrued amount. P would be the principal. 1 plus R would be the interest rate, typically represented as like per year, but the time frame can change, and T would represent the time frame that interest rate is it exists for. So it's important that R and T are consistent in terms of the time units that we're talking about. So if we're talking about years, the interest rate should be, for example, 6% per year, and then the time frame would be how many years did I lend that money.
That's a very good point. You know what? I think it would be good if we write what you just said out on the board. So A is the accrued amount. P is the principal amount. Yeah, it's probably best if I use that black felt pen here. Okay, and R is the rate of interest.
Yep.
And T is the time period. Okay, and so as Ben noted, it's really important for the rate of interest and the time period to have consistent time units. So if we're going to define the rate of interest in terms of years, then the time period needs to be expressed in years. If we define the rate of interest in terms of months, then the time period needs to be in months for this calculation to work. Okay, so that's the formula for simple interest. Ben, shall we plug in some numbers to illustrate how this formula works?
I think we should. Do we have it here at the bottom?
You know what? We'll erase this.
Okay.
So, okay. Go ahead.
So I wanted to pick a realistic example, and while we can always talk about different interest rates, like as high as 10% or as low as 3% or whatever, we settled on 6. So we're going to use an interest rate of 6%. Now, so this example, we're going to say that somebody starts investing at the age of 25, and they retire at the age of 65. So that's 40 years. 40 years where the money is invested and grows at 6%. So interest rate 6%
per year.
Per year.
Yeah.
Per year. And the time frame that we're talking about is 40 years.
Okay.
So let's plug in these numbers. So we're solving for A in this case. So the principal. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention what the principal amount was. How much we're actually investing.
Right.
So the principal, in this case, is going to be $10,000.
Okay.
So we're going to invest $10,000 at 6% interest per year for 40 years. And how much would we have at the end? That's kind of what we're going to solve for.
Yeah.
So the total accrued amount would be the principal of 10,000 multiplied by 1 plus the rate of interest, which is 6%, which we can write as 0.06 multiplied by the time frame, which is 40 years.
And we need another bracket just to close that off, Ben.
You're right.
Yeah.
I thought that was a 1 for some reason.
No worries.
So if you solve for this, what did you get? 34,000. So at the end of 40 years, you would end up with $34,000, which, as you can tell, is an increase from the $10,000 we initially invested. So this is $10,000, including the interest money added on top.
Right. So that's pretty decent. Eh? Your money more than tripled over the 40 years.
Yeah.
Based simply on simple interest.
Right.
Okay.